and life is all so difficult. And then you think about wanting to leave something behind for your kids. Well, how can you leave something behind for your kids when every day you're trying to make sure that your kids have joy and happiness and health and fulfillment today? Every day I'm really concerned about if I'll be able to keep living and making art in this city for myself.
This campaign to create awareness to generational wealth is brought to you by the Department of Neighborhood's Generational Wealth Initiative, the Washington Housing Finance Commission, and Rainier Avenue Radio World.
Women are not an homogenous group.
We face discrimination differently depending on factors such as ethnicity, age, socioeconomic status, and more.
Rainier Avenue Radio is proud to amplify women's voices.
They are the experts of their own lives, initiating conversations within their community about challenges they face, the solutions they're working on, and the opportunities they see.
Please join us this Sunday from 2 to 5 for Women's Voices on Air. We know our challenges. We are the experts of our lives.
We are master multitaskers, prioritizing our family, friends, and our faith above our own needs.
Our needs and voices are too often overlooked.
Please join us this Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. for Women's Voices on Air.
We tell our stories in our own way.
We need your help finding community members to help shape the future of your utilities and the environment. We have 2 exciting opportunities for the public to work with Seattle Public Utilities, the Customer Review Panel, CRP, and the Solid Waste Advisory Committee, SWAC. CRP and SWAC are looking for new members to contribute expertise and passion to help improve utility services and advance our commitment to environmental stewardship and social justice. Applications can be found at seattle.gov/utilities/community-advisory-recruitment. Hey, can you run that back? Applications can be found at seattle.gov/utilities/community-advisory-recruitment. Thank you. Application deadline for both opportunities is Tuesday, April 23rd.
Yo, Rainier Avenue Radio. Seattle's best music, talk, and sports station.
Hey, y'all. Hey, this is Dr. Traci Harrell, and I am so excited about today. Oh my goodness. You are in for an exciting treat today. So you're watching Better Together and Living Powerfully. Right? We've been leading the Better Together Empowerment Series and the Living Powerfully experience. And that's because we know it's so much better when we do this work together. So today, my guest, right, she'll be joining us in a moment, is none other than Dr. Linda Smith. And she is the Reverend Dr. Linda Smith. And what is so exciting is you all have heard me show up, and I've talked about the science of living powerfully. I've said that this is guaranteed to work. The life that you want is guaranteed to be available to you if you work it, right? We've said that. The life of your dreams is for the taking. It's actually for the making, right? Because you get to make it. You get to decide, hey, I am here to create, to really live out why I was put on this earth. And so we've been talking about the science. We've talked about the living powerfully experience with positive intelligence. And we've said, because it's true, it's research-based, right? It's based on neuroscience and positive psychology and cognitive behavioral psychology and performance science. So we want to lay a foundation so that people are clear that not only is this guaranteed to work, is this scientifically proven? If you're human, and you have a brain, because again, neuroscience is about the power of the brain. It's how the brain works. So what we get to do now is we get to say, guess what? Yes, and everything we've said is true. It is scientifically proven to work, guaranteed to work if you work it, research-based in the top universities around the world, that neuroscience, performance science, positive psychology, like there's guaranteed research that says if you want to change your life, this is how you do it. And so what's exciting is Positive Intelligence has packaged this opportunity in such a way that anyone can do it, right? It's typically $1,000 program, and I'm bringing it into community for free, like for each person to do this work. It's a 6-week foundational program, but it's really just hearing one session around identifying your saboteurs. I offer free assessments. So you go online, you look up positiveintelligence.com, and you can figure out, like, what is this really about for me? Now, what we're going to talk about today, which is super exciting, isn't just the science. What we know to be true as well. Part of living powerfully is feeling good about the experience, right? So when you show up and you say the words, when you say what we call the sage perspective, that everything will work out for my good. When you say those words, what we know to be true is it's true. Everything will work out for my good. This situation, as messed up as it looks like, I believe that this is going to work out for my good. I know that to be true. And so what we get to do is change the perspective, change the status quo. You get to change your life. So what we also are talking about is a combination of both faith and science. That's what we're going to talk about today. It's very exciting. So I'm going to share a flyer with you about an upcoming event. Oh, so excited. So the flyer shows, oh, I love that. So this flyer actually shows myself with my pastor, Reverend Dr. Leslie Braxton. It also shows one of my transformational coach, Dabrina Jackson Gandy. She's a master life coach, a business consultant as well, and Reverend Dr. Linda Smith. And what I love about this is we all get to show up as a part of an experience on May 6th. We're going to be at the New Beginnings Christian Fellowship, and they have something called Magnificent Mondays. So it's Mondays at 6 p.m. Thanks to my amazing producing crew, we will also be live, but the people that are in person will get some really hands-on transformational coaching. It's a little difficult for us to do really, truly transformational coaching with people online. So if you want to come join us, look up New Beginnings Christian Fellowship. Nathan will put it in the chat for us. So join us May 6th. We also have, Nathan, if you can grab the announcements, details, it's in that folder that I shared. If you could put that in the chat as well, the link for people to register. I'm so excited. So if you really want to be a part of something transformational, right, this is the date and the time for you. This is us creating a space where we can go deep. So we're bringing in transformational coaches. I'm bringing in the science around positive intelligence. We're also bringing in the spiritual side. We're bringing in conversations that allow us to truly, truly show up in excellence, that allow us to truly show up in a way that says, not only are you able to live powerfully, but you're able to do it with others. So our theme for 2024 at New Beginnings is getting better. And as you all know, we've been leading a series for a couple of years now that was called the Getting the Better Together Empowerment Series. And so every time I heard a message that had anything to do with getting better, I was like, look at this alignment. Look at this perfect alignment. I so love this more than you possibly know. And so I had to start to truly integrate the conversation with the activation. I really wanted to create a space for people to thrive. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to create a space for you to not only show up and get better, but we're talking about getting healthier, getting happier, getting wealthier, and getting wiser. And there's no time like the present. So Nathan's going to put this link in the chat. That is the correct link. So we're going to get started with a couple of little video links. Nathan, Oh, let me know when you are ready. Oh, it looks like one of my producers will do that. We have Nathan, we have Daniel. Someone will post it in the chat. So we're going to get ready to play a clip, which I think for me was one of the earlier messages that I heard, which made me realize that, okay, I really do need to bring this conversation forward with Dr. Linda, who I think might be having some difficulty joining us. We were just on a Zoom with her, or on a call with her a few minutes ago. So I am responding. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to create, you guys let me know when you're ready for the clip. And what we're going to do is, I honestly have never been in a position where I felt so comfortable combining the science with the spirit. The spiritual aspects simply compound. They like double down. You guys ever heard of the term doubling down? It's like, we know the science works and we know the spirit works. And when you combine the science and the spirit, it's like, oh my God, it's truly living powerfully. And so that's what we get to do. That's what I'm kind of packaging together. We're in a space. Oh, she said she thought she was in. Nope. I think she's on the wrong link, y'all. I'm sorry. So two things. I'm going to wait till she joins before I show this clip, because I want her to respond to the clip. So Miss Nathan, if you could email Dr. Linda, she thinks she's on the Zoom. She thinks she's on the call. Okay. So we have our videos here. Can you also share the video? Thank you, Nathan. Can you show the video? The document that has our sponsors. Let me talk really quick about how we get to show up for free. So not just the flyer, but the post. So what we're doing on Monday, May 6th, and a lot of people were like, okay, so tell me a little bit more about this. So no, show me the other one, the one that actually has the that's beautiful too. Here, I'll add it to the stage. That's the one. Okay. So this is what I really wanted to talk about as well. So what you're going to see on this flyer is not just the fact that we're showing up on May 6th, Monday, May 6th at 6 p.m., which we are. It's going to be the beginning, a kickoff of a 6-week training series, right? Because we know transformation can't happen in one session. But what we do know is when we show up with consistency, you're guaranteed to see results. So we're asking people, I think it was 2 sessions ago, we asked people, we said, hey, dust off those resolutions. Let's resurrect the resolutions. And I'm not just saying it. Listen, people, everyone has to show up at some point in a way that allows them to say, not only am I going to do what I say, but I really want to create the life of my dreams. So let me just go back to this. I'm going to add it in one more time unless Dr. Linda's here. If you guys tell me she's here. Oh, she's on her way. Okay, perfect. So check this out, y'all. At the very bottom, and maybe my guys have to help me with this one. There we go. So at the very bottom, what you'll see is this is being sponsored by 2 wonderful organizations. So I just want to take a moment to give them a little credit. So on Monday, May 6th, what we're going to be doing is we're kicking off the next version of the Living Powerfully experience, right? And it's we say it's time to get better, but we're getting better together. We're getting happier, healthier, wealthier, and wiser, right? And so if you're a business person, because many of the interviews I've done with individuals who are in business, many professionals, many leaders are like, hey, what I really want is to have balance. You know, I want to do the work that I know I was put on this earth to do, but I want to do it with ease and flow. Oftentimes, what prevents us from doing that are our own limiting beliefs. We call them our saboteurs. So that's why there's a 6-week process, because we're going to take you through. Week 1 is identifying this process. Like, how does this whole thing work? Week 2 is when we go into the saboteurs, although I do have people do that pretty early in the process, right? So when you identify what's holding you back, you see it and you're able to say, okay, nope, I'm not going to do that. And then with the goal in mind, that's why we want to say, we want you to get healthier, wealthier, happier, wiser. You want your business to be more profitable. We want you, whatever it is, whatever the things are, we want you to, whatever you say you wanted to do, that's what we're going to be doing as a part of this experience. You guys let me know when Miss Linda's here. Looks like she's on her way. Okay. Okay. So the two sponsors, let me finish real quick. So the two sponsors are King County. So the National Black MBA Association, we want to grant through King County, through the Gathering Collaborative, called Racism is a Public Health Crisis. And you'd say, well, this has nothing to do with racism. You're right. This is about anybody, whoever you are. If you want to get better, join us. Join us. But what it does do is it lays a foundation for creating a truly inclusive culture within organizations. Like we've talked about creating an inclusive culture, but we don't necessarily have the how. When I was at Microsoft, I had people say, we really got to go deeper. You know, people really, really wanted to go deeper, but there really wasn't that ecosystem that allowed us to do so, right? So amazing companies too need to be able to go deeper, to create a foundation where individuals are changing, so teams are changing, and then we're able to create that truly inclusive culture, not just programmatically. So when the program starts, you know, then the benefits stop. No, we want to create a space where everyone can thrive. So King County is one of our sponsors. The other sponsor is WSMA, Washington State Micro Enterprise Association. Because one of the things that we've heard business owners say, businesses don't thrive. Oftentimes, entrepreneurs don't thrive because it's a lot of work, right? And they don't necessarily get the outcomes that they want, and it's too much. So this is how you reduce the stress, increase the happiness, and all the wonderful things. Okay, Dr. Reverend Linda, hello. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Excellent. So good to see you.
Thank you.
So, would you do me the honor? You look beautiful, by the way. Would you do me the honor of introducing yourself and tell us a little bit about your background in you have a doctorate in transformational leadership. How exciting is that? Tell us about that.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, my background in transformation leadership has taken me on a journey of working with individuals as well as groups in terms of being transformed. Because if individuals and groups that are working within organizations, whether it's social or private or public, if they're healed, if they're okay, then that's automatically going to ensure that whatever you're doing is going to be successful. One of my work has taken me across the nation. I've gone to India. I've looked at some of the deep-rooted issues around marginalized communities in particular. And in doing that, it just really allowed me to dive deep into the issues that impact people's lives. One of the quotes that really guided my life is my own personal quote from my book, Pathway to the Soul, is that the deepest need of any human is to be in touch with their souls, to be real with the soul, to be opening to listening to the soul, tending to the soul, and to be receptive to the spirit movement in the journey of purpose, healing, and wholeness of the authentic self. Now, our lives are embedded with so much trauma, and we've carried that trauma from generation to generation. And so until we are let go of that trauma, then we will continue to bring, we're wounded. When you're wounded, you're going to continue to take woundedness out into the people that you engage with. So my focus has really been, it's intentional work. And every individual have to be intentional about their own healing. And when we're intentional about our own healing, it allows us an opportunity to work together with others and to find that sense of wholeness. So that has been my journey, and I've seen so much transformation happen with individuals and groups and communities that I work with, that it is important work. It is necessary work if we're continuing to move forward to the greater things, to being better together.
Yes.
Powerful, yes.
I love it. Wow. Do y'all understand why I had to bring this lady on? And we met through a very divine connection. We were at an event, an NAACP meeting. And I was like, and we had done some work last year related to MLK. So you're the current pastor of Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Baptist Church. So you're holding down the legacy of Dr. MLK. in King County, of all places. So your role in this town is tremendous. So I just want to say thank you for being a part of this, because you see the value and you're holding it down. How huge is the work that we're doing right now when we say this is connected to continuing the dream? The dream is about us, each of us being our most powerful selves.
Well, I think it's important, because I think one of the things that we have to do is to really, maybe I'll use the word, educate our younger generations about the struggles that we endured, but we don't want to bring the pain forward with those struggles. You know, we want to be able to be active in our communities without the pain that comes with that. And so many of us have not let go of that past pain. So when you see a police killing or some injustice that impact a person, it stirs up a rage inside of you. And that rage is okay if it's healthy rage. But if it's rage that is going to inflict harm and wound yourself and those in your families, your community, your faith community, then that's not good. So that's why it's important for us to really be able to, the work that we're doing is just really powerful work. It's intentional work, and it's work that causes us to really stay in touch with our whole selves. And I think that's really important in terms of transformation.
I love that so much. So much you said. I mean, I just get so excited. I'm like, God is just like giving me this joy so deep in my soul right now. First of all, your book, Pathway to the Soul, you're part of my pathway to my soul feeling so at peace right now, because you doing this work and you seeing the value is so wonderful. So they just brought up your book, Pathway to the Soul. Tell us a little bit about this book. You know, I got an amazing team, because we didn't know you had a book called Pathway to the Soul. They just found it and popped it up. So I just got to say thank you to my people. So go ahead and tell us about your book, Pathway.
Well, really, the Pathway to the Soul is a process. And it really is a process that allows people, whether it's individuals or whether it's groups, to have a pathway to working through trauma, to working through woundedness, and to come out on the other side, healed and made whole. And we realize that healing is always a journey. It will be a journey until we end. But if we are aware of the things that wound us, and we take that immediate intentions to heal ourselves and find pathways to healing, you know, through our faith, through therapy, and through other things, then that is what is going to bring, healness to our whole world. So that's what it's about. It's really about just really my journeying with groups and individuals, and creating a pathway so that one can sit down and say, okay, well, this is how I'm going to approach this. One of the things that I would like to add, that I grew up in the South, and I grew up in the South on religion. I used the word religion, and it didn't serve me well because it was very oppressive. And so when I left the South and I came north, I said I had to go and find my faith, find Jesus for myself, And what that did for me is it really empowered me to be really focused on what I actually laid down religion and took up spirituality. So I focus on the spirituality of Jesus. And that requires me to be compassionate with myself, to be forgiving to myself. And when I'm that to myself, then I'm going to be that to everyone around me. And so that's really the power of what I think the Pathway to the Soul does. Is a process that leads us into how to be healed and to be made whole, so that we may be functional and productive and life-giving individuals to our communities, to our society.
Ooh, Lord, do I love that. That is part of, that's perfectly aligned with this living powerfully experience. We're saying show up, because you have to be intentional. This is one of the pathways. It's not the only pathway, but it's one of the pathways for us to get better together. We bring people together who have not only an expertise, but a passion. These people are like, these aren't just people who are saying, what they think. These are people who are saying, this is my lived experience, right? Miss Smith, at the end of the day, Dr. Smith, Reverend Dr. Smith, at the end of the day, when God says your time is over, what do you want him to say about him? We all want him to say, well done, but what do you want him to say about you when your days are done?
That Linda Smith guided people on a path that led to first of all, their stories being heard, being healed, and always finding hope. And so the work that I've been doing is to be heard, to be healed, to find hope. And that's a cycle in all of our lives that we must continue. And so that's what I want God to say, that she made an impact on individual lives, and those individuals made an impact on their communities and the world around us. Because I believe that the gift of life belongs to everyone. And when we collaborate, I love this better together. When we work together and help each other be healed, because we each bring something to each other, then it really changes the world in which we live. And I believe that the world was created to be a good world, a world where people enjoy the best of what life has to offer. So that's what.
I love that. I love that so much. So a couple of the things that you said several times, and I just want to kind of repeat the word. I heard you say the word intentional, meaning show up. I'm putting the link in the chat. I've had some people text me directly, and I'm trying to manage all of the comments, but there's a link in the chat, everyone. So on May 6th at New Beginnings Christian Fellowship live, as well as we're going to do it live here as well. We're going to do a part of the broadcast live here as a part of this show, but we're also going to be in person for 2 hours, right? So we the people that are in person are going to actually be able to be coached. If there are any, last few weeks we've said resurrect those resolutions. It's just April. We're going into May, right? You got 7 months in 2024, whatever those dreams are. You get to decide moment by moment, day by day, what you're going to do. One thing you're going to do to achieve those goals. You'll be there closer to achieving those goals by the end of the year if you're intentional. So the word intention for you, Dr. Smith, related to transformation. People might say, what's going to be happening in 6 weeks? And why do we need to be together for 6 weeks? 6 weeks is a foundation. We're going to continue to build on this work. It's a foundation. Why would you say to people that it takes time to actually build those neural pathways to not only say, here's my plan, here's what I want to do, but I also want to drive change with intention. And if it doesn't work out as I thought, I want to be coached. I want to help transform. I want to do something different so that I can still get there. Let's talk about this whole concept of intention and transformation and why it takes some time, why it might take 6 weeks or more, right, to move in the right direction.
Well, life itself is a journey, and we're always on that journey. And the intentionality behind the journey is putting into practice those things that help you to stay focused on you. The only person that knows you is you. And so the intentionality around that is it enables you to be able to rise up every day and say, that today I'm focusing on this about me. And as we do that, it enables us to overcome the issues and things that impact our lives in a negative or a not so life-giving way. So, and that means that we're compassionate to ourselves, we're forgiving to ourselves. Sometimes we don't forget to forgive ourselves, and therefore it's very difficult to forgive others, and really to have a spirit of gratitude. Really being thankful, really for who you are, not dwelling on the negative, but really intentionally focusing on your goodness, focusing on your greatness. And I think that the intentionality in a short way, the question you asked was, what does it mean? Why, 6 weeks? 6 weeks is right. It's a really good start. I think that's powerful because people will leave in 6 weeks with some tools and techniques that they can personally use, like meditation and mindfulness, that they can use in their daily practice in order to continue to be healed, to be made whole, and to find hope every step of the way.
I love it. I love it. Can you believe we're halfway through the show already? So we're going to take our first little commercial break, and we're going to come right back. We have some videos we're going to share, and then we're going to come back and talk about living how you can do to truly live your best life. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Here with the Rainier Avenue Radio Traffic Update. You can listen to us in your car 24/7 anytime by downloading the free TuneIn app. Once you do, search Rainier Avenue Radio. And remember, do not curse out your fellow drivers. This has been your Rainier Avenue Radio Traffic Update.
Support for Rainier Avenue Radio comes from Cascade PBS, presenting season 2 of Out and Back with Allison Mariella Desir. Join Allison as she explores the Pacific Northwest with changemakers who are reclaiming space in the outdoors and creating opportunities for local BIPOC communities to engage with nature and find joy and healing. It's available now on Cascade PBS app and airing on KCTS 9 Thursdays at 8:50 p.m.
Hello, listener. What's important to you about what's going on in your community? Are you interested? Are you concerned? In any case, I invite you to tune into my show, Seattle Here and Now, on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Why? I will be covering a wide range of topics important to you and impacting the community. Each show will have a special guest or guests to share with you information on a variety of subjects that are happening here and now in Seattle. I promise I will work hard to make my show informative, interesting, and entertaining. Be sure to listen to Seattle Here and Now on Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Do you have an idea for a community project in your neighborhood? You could be eligible for up to $50,000 in funding through the City of Seattle's Neighborhood Matching Fund. Grants are awarded to grassroots projects that build stronger communities, with an emphasis on projects led by impacting Black, Indigenous, and people of color BIPOC communities. To learn more about the Neighborhood Matching Fund or to see if your project meets the criteria, visit seattle.gov/neighborhoods/NMF.
This is Big Poppy, host of Jazz from the Cabinets. Join me each week for a listening tour of the first century of jazz, an eclectic mix of Dixieland, big band, cool jazz, bebop, contemporary jazz, world jazz, all jazz in all forms. That's Jazz from the Cabinets with Big Poppy on Rainier Avenue Radio, streaming worldwide on RainierAvenueRadio.world.
Love food? Here's some storage tips to keep it fresh longer. Store cut fruits and vegetables in the fridge. Place in reusable containers. Keep bread in the freezer for longer storage. 40% of food in the U.S. goes uneaten. Save money, save food, save the planet. Visit Seattle Public Utilities for more tips.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not translating the lyrics of Boogie Oogie Oogie for bored Europeans, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Hey y'all, this is Dr. Traci Harrell, and I am so excited to be here today. And we are talking about what is coming momentarily in your community. We are going to be bringing you a series that is specifically focused on helping you to get healthier, happier, wealthier, and wiser. And we are being joined today by none other than Reverend Dr. Linda Smith. Thank you, Miss Linda. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Excellent. So thank you so much. You know, people don't know potentially that you have a doctorate in transformational leadership. So we were just talking about why this is so important to you, why you want people to realize that the work that we're doing is not just for us, but it's actually for our community. It's for our business. It's for improving life in general. Like when we change, we get to have that ripple effect to transform others. Like transformation does have a ripple effect. Let's talk about like when we change, how we can change those around us.
Well, we carry less pain into the world. Because as we're interacting with others, if we're not, if we're wounded, then we're going to carry that into the world. So if we step back, if we think about COVID and the experience that we all went through, and I could go back further than that, but I want to stick with that for a moment, how it impacted our lives. But we've not taken the opportunity to even talk about that. It was about survival mode. And so all of that trauma, whether it was stress and grief, certainly there was a lot of grief around not just loss of loved ones, but grief around loss of jobs and things like that. And when you don't process trauma, it builds up inside of you. And then that accelerates itself, and it starts to look like, mental health issues, depression. And so when you're interacting with others, then that's what you're passing along to them. And so being transformed from the inside, it enables us to also be a catalyst for change to those that we're in contact with. So I think that's why, transformation leadership is really about being transformed and looking at new ways of doing things. I love, again, being better together. And we all have ideas, but we cannot operate in silo. We are a communal people, and we must learn how to do that, but it also has to be in a healthy way. So we're making, we're really making a difference in the lives of not only individual lives, but in the lives of the communities in which we serve.
I love that. And what I like most about you is that, again, you're carrying on the legacy. You're pastoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Baptist Church in Renton, correct?
Yes.
And we all know that legacy happens when we show up for ourselves fully. I heard you say whole selves, right? You're talking about, your book, Pathway to the Soul. Like you're basically saying, here's a pathway. Like we're laying it out for you. There's not much more we can do than to say it's here for you. Like what more can we do? I feel like we're just showing up, giving people a gift of true transformation. So, part of the work is, I said, I'm excited to bring in the science and the spirit. Now, my pastor, I think I mentioned this to you, Reverend Braxton, we're going to show his first video. He's actually been leading the series. His theme for 2024 is Get Better. And so one of the sessions he asked was, do you really want to get better? So let's see real quick what he had to say. What he had to say about that.
Sayings in the Western world, which all of us have heard and used more times than we could ever begin to count, is the statement of where there is a will, there is a way. Usually when we don't get to the places we want to go, when we don't achieve what we aspire, many times the issue is not that we couldn't. It's because we were short on the will to do it, because where there is a will, there is a way. Some of you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Yeah. You have to have the will. The will to want to be healed, the will to want to be better. And that can only come from the individual person. We can lay things out for people. We can make programs for people, but I have to have the will to want to aspire to do greater things. I have to have the will to, like you say, to want to be well, to know that, I know what goes on inside of me, and I'm just talking theoretically here. I know, and each person knows, but then I have to decide, And that's where the intentionality comes in. Do I want to be better? Do I want to be made well? And once I say yes to that, then the pathway to my healing and my wholeness start. And I, during the George Floyd era, I did a lot of advocacy work, out in the streets, marching and being a voice for those who didn't have a voice. And our whole persona was that we wanted something better. And if we had been passive about that, nothing would have happened. But because of our intentionality around that and being vocal in a way that we weren't angry or anything, but just elevated our voices to speak against injustices, it made a difference. And so that same process, that same concept applies to our individual and personal lives as well.
It does. I love it so much. Guys, the next time you play a clip from Pastor Braxton, if you can turn the volume up, that would be awesome for me. That would be great. So, Dr. Linda, what I loved, we're going to play a couple more videos, but what I loved about this is what I heard you just say is you have to be intentional, right? You have to decide. You also use my other favorite word is the D, because decisions determine our destiny, right? That's really one of the most key things that I've learned as it relates to being, I'm a transformational coach certified through 4 different programs. So this concept of saying, decisions determine our destiny. And it's not a one-time decision, because I've said I wanted to lose weight, Dr. Linda. I've said it, yet I let my weight get over 300 pounds. I'm on a path down now because I'm like, I decide every day. I decided every meal, right? The decision that I make to drink more water, that is the decision that determines my destiny as well, right? So let's talk a little bit about the concept of decisions that determine our destiny, right? How is it that not only saying it, but doing it? Why is that so important? And then where do you find your strength when you're trying to change something? Where do you find your strength? I think there's some superpowers that we don't necessarily always acknowledge. Where do you find your strength? And then we're going to see a video after you.
Right. So I think for all of us to make decisions, we also have to have a purpose or hope. We have to envision that this is what we want our lives to be. Like you say, I have this focus, and some call it a goal, but I say it's always hope, because hope is what inspires you from within. And then once we have that vision of where we want to go, then we begin to find the strength. And this is where the spiritual part of it come in. Because and as Dr. Braxton talked about that will, then we get to tap into the divine power that is within us. There's a spirit greater than us, and however you name that spirit, but that the Creator spirit is the spirit that you tap into. That is what gives us the confidence and the faith and the power to know that we can rise above whatever it is that we're going through. And that's a mindset. That's a mindset. It all starts in that mind, changing our mindsets about what we want to do. And then through meditation, through mindfulness, through prayer, we're able to elevate ourselves to that place where we can make good decisions and be able to climb over those mountains.
Y'all, I love you. I love you so much, Dr. Linda. We got to bond a little bit during the MLK work, but this right here is going to be so powerful. This was my plan. When you bring 2 ladies together who are divinely inspired and God has put us on the same path, I'm like, just show up and watch what happens. And look at this. We're divine. We are aligned. We don't have to make this up. Because God is God. The truth, it will set you free, right? And what I love about this is I've been talking about the science for weeks, for months, actually. Talk a little bit. We're going to share a video real quick. I think it's a real short clip regarding how he helps, how we can get some divine help.
Well, we talk about getting better. We got to ask the question, do we want to get better? Because sometimes, honestly speaking, we don't want things to get better, you need to have the resident presence of the power of God as we saw in Jesus Christ working in your life. Touch your neighbor and say you need Jesus for anything to get better.
I love that. I absolutely, because it's the power of Jesus that is in us, power of the Holy Spirit that guides us, because every day we compete with two voices, and it's a decision of which one do I choose, which way do I go today, which voice do I choose. And the more intimate and relational you are with the divine power, with Jesus, with the Holy Spirit, then you're able to discern which path to take. And and when you only have one path, it's only going to lead you, that way, But when you have the power of God within you, the power of the Holy Spirit, the power of Jesus within you, that is what gives you the strength every day to rise up and to go forth and do what is right, do the right thing by yourself and by others. So I'm not saying it's an easy path, but it is possible, because I believe that all things are possible through Christ who strengthens me. And I think, just over the years, I've experienced that power. But so it's about the inner power, the inner strength that is within us. And certainly I guess I can say I'm a testament to life, that God is able, and that if we're willing, God is willing. But sometimes we get that wrong. We think, well, God is out there, waiting on us. No. God says, I'm here. I'm waiting on you. Yeah.
I love it. I love that so much. And what I also love about this is, we've talked about the science. And when you bring in this, you don't have to be a believer for it to work.
Right.
But faith will absolutely change things, but so will science. So if you say, if I'm not a believer, will this actually work for me? It will. But if you are a believer, you got to double down superpower. You got some extra help. That's what they call divine support, right? So it's like, yes, and yes, it will work, even if you're not a believer. But if you're a believer, right, there's something extra. That's it. And you can believe in whatever you want to believe. Believing in any power higher than yourself, right? I happen to believe, and we happen to believe in the same creator, right? But believing in something bigger than you. That's what my company is called. It's all bigger than me, because it ain't about me, right? It has to be about us collectively, right? Doing something for the greater good. And so it excites me to be able to talk about my creator. I love that. I'm so proud to be able to do that. But I'm also saying, guys, science will show you the way as well, right? There's transformation. Transformation is possible. And when you bring in the combination of transformation and spirit, that's beautiful. That's living powerfully. That's part of the living powerfully experience for me.
Mm-hmm. And that, I believe, is what hope is all about. Like you say, it is having that hope and faith are twins. Because if you have the hope, if you can believe and in someone greater than yourself, something greater than yourself, then there's no limit to what you can do.
Yes, I love it. I think we have another clip from Pastor Braxton. We have a lot of clips about Pastor Braxton that we're going to be showing throughout this series. But right now, we're going to share one more, and I want to get your thoughts about what he says.
Before we talk about getting better, we got to ask the question, do we want to get better? Because sometimes, honestly speaking, we don't want to get better. Sometimes we don't want to get better because we don't know that there is better.
You heard that?
Yes.
We don't know that there is better. How often is that the case? You were talking about being traumatized, being in a place, where maybe from a family perspective, right? You've seen things that were not ideal. Talk about why it's so important to believe in something better.
Well, I think it is important. I mean, I think just my own journey, coming from the deep South to here, really was a journey of looking beyond where I was and believing inside of me that there was something greater. And as you said, through prayer, it gave me that inner strength and that inner power to be able to achieve that. Now here's one of the concerns that often is sometimes we take our stories and we hide those stories in the recesses of our souls. And what's important is for us to examine our stories and lay it all out bare and be able to share our stories, and for us to know our stories, because in our stories there's the good, the bad, there's the different and the indifferent. But what it does is it gives us a hope. But if we don't do that, if we don't stop and take that moment to examine our stories, to be able to look at the things that we've overcome, then we sort of stay stuck in a hole. So I think it's important for us to be able to examine our stories, because it's in our stories that we find hope, to know that we can rise above whatever it is, whatever that darkness is, whatever that holds us, that oppresses us or entrap us into the greater things.
Yes, I love that so much. What I heard you say is tell your stories. And one of my favorite quotes is from Brene Brown. She basically says, stories that we own, we get to write the ending.
Yeah.
And stories that we don't own, they own us.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Right?
Love that. Yes.
So decisions determine our destiny. Yes.
Yeah, that's the power of telling the story. So you know your story, and like you say, when you know your story, you get to write the script as to how as what the ending will be. But if you just sort of like it's all up inside of you and you don't know it, then that's what you're going to continue to live out and not really experience the fullness of what life. Because our stories, they link us together. They allow us to know and to be known. They create meaning out of chaos, give us understanding. They're painful. And, until you touch the wound, until you touch the pain of the wound, you will never be healed. Once you can touch those, be able to name how you felt when something happened to you, it is only then that you're able to put it to rest so that you can rise up in a new way.
I love that. I love that so much. That's part of the reason why, again, back to the science and the spirit, you're scientifically proven 500% more likely to complete a goal when you do it in community, when you do it in a cohort. 500% more likely to complete a goal when you do it with others. That's why we call it the Better Together Empowerment Series, because it's so much better when you do it together and you're telling your story about your success and or the story of your challenge. And then you see that you're not the only one. And here's how this other person accomplished this goal. And here's how you can also help to move that forward. That's the power of together. That's the empowerment of together.
Yeah, you are. It's so powerful. You're so right. Because when we've gone through things, when we've experienced trauma in our lives, we sometimes feel that we're out there all by ourselves. One of the things that has been very powerful, particularly like during the George Floyd era, which I sort of experienced that raw. I think I was a little bit young before, but it was having my white colleagues that came to my aid and was marching alongside of us. And I just have a couple of amazing ones in my community that were always reaching out and like checking on me and like just want to check in to see how you and what they were doing. They were validating my experience, because sometimes what happens is when people don't validate our pain, when they say, oh, well, that was nothing, or, experiencing that was nothing. But what they do is they validate your humanness. And when community, that's what it does when we are together and when we can encourage each other, we validate the humanness of one another.
Yes. And amplify the opportunity and the possibility for true transformation. Because if you transform, I too can do the same. I'm
That's
here
right.
with you, right? It's a beautiful, like I said, it's science, but it's also, we're tribal beings. We're meant to do this work together.
Yes. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, I know that our creator intended for us to be in community. We were never a standalone, no matter what background you're from. We are communal people, and when we grow together, when we live together, we grow together, we thrive together.
Yes, I love it. I love it.
And support and encourage one another, and we're compassionate. Compassion is so important.
Yes.
Towards one another.
So we are absolutely, I cannot believe that we are so close to the end of this session today, but we're inviting people to join us for the Better Together Empowerment Series and for the Living Powerfully Experience, right? We're kicking off a 6-week series on Monday, May 6th at 6 p.m. I just wanted you guys to have a little taste of a little experience of Reverend Dr. Linda Smith, who is currently the pastor of Martin Luther King Jr. Baptist Church, Memorial Baptist Church, but she also has a doctorate in transformational leadership. So this is all about, how do we transform together? How do we show up together and truly transform? Dr. Linda, what would you say to someone about why they should join us?
Well, I'm going to go back to Dr. Braxton, where and what the scripture said. Do you want to be healed?
Do you want to get better? Do you really want to get better?
Do you want to get better? Do you want your life to be what it was intended to be, joyful, and to live to the fullness of who you've been created to be, to live your best life every day? Do you want to get better? And I think it's so important to experience joy and peace, and not in some hereafter, but today is living life so that you enjoy that for which our divine creator created us to be. So
I love it. I love it. Part of the 6-week program, Dr. Linda, is something that we call, we got 2 minutes left, something that we call the saboteur assessment. So we ask people to identify like where they've been held back, where they have these limiting beliefs, where are the things that actually hold them back. Tell us a little bit about like the importance of seeing what holds us back so that we can break through to the next level.
Oh, well, I think that's really important because we sabotage our own minds. I mean, particularly like in workplaces, I think about in workplaces, sometime if you feel like you're being targeted because of a particular race or color or whatever, you can't allow that to hold you back. You have to not sabotage your own mind. I've seen people like, just sort of let that drain them. And you have to push your way past that. You have to see yourself as equal and as good as the next person or the people that you're working with. And so not to allow your mind to be sabotaged by destructive things, but always looking through being pessimistic and optimistic, looking at things as to how they are. And I just believe things are good. I believe that things are great. So you are what you see. And so I see goodness, I see greatness. And I think it's important for everyone to really just building together is really powerful for our community. I think it's when we work together, we accomplish greater things.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Excited about it and grateful that you're facilitating and moving us forward in answer, I think, to what Dr. King called us to do is to, what affects one affects us all. So we want goodness to affect us all. So let's do it. Let's go for it.
I love it. Thank you so much. Y'all, we're at the end of our show today. I can't be more excited. Again, thank you so much, Reverend Dr. Linda Smith, doctor in transformational leadership, y'all. So she's going to be a part of our series as we kick off this next 6-week series. join us. And my announcement relates to Earth Day. Earth deserves more than a day. It is currently, we're going to be highlighting programming 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I can't be more excited. I think this is thank you very much for sharing the flyer. April 22nd through the 26th, we'll have films, workshops, networking, and all kind of wonderful things right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. So thank you so much. Here's some of the shows that are going to be shared during this time. And next, right here on Rainier Avenue Radio, y'all, we have Lid Line Sports, hosted by Pep and O. So stay with us, y'all. We'll be back next week. And again, you can live your most important life. Decisions determine your destiny, y'all. We'll see you soon. Stay with us. Thanks.